When I was a kid, my grandfather told me stories about a strange man in the woods. I wish I believed them. When I was a kid, my grandfather used to tell me strange stories about the forest behind his house in West Virginia. He called it the Hollow, a shadowy stretch of land that seemed to swallow sound. Even in the brightest daylight, it felt unnaturally dim, the canopy above weaving an oppressive quilt of leaves and branches. Grandpa would sit in his creaky rocking chair, pipe smoke curling around his head, and tell me tales about the strange things he'd seen. Most of them were harmless, glowing lights flitting between the trees or distant laughter with no source. But there was one story he refused to talk about until he was drunk on moonshine. It was the story of the lantern maker. Back in the early 1900s, there was a man who lived alone deep in the hollow. People rarely saw him, but when they did, he was always carrying an old iron lantern. He'd walk the forest at night, the flickering light barely illuminating his gaunt face and wild eyes. Some said he was a hermit, others whispered he was a sorcerer. But everyone agreed he was dangerous. Local legends claimed he could weave strange things into existence with his lantern. It wasn't just light it cast, it was shadows, thick and alive. People swore they'd seen impossible shapes moving in the forest, things that were too large, too fast,